Hello, good morning students. So we will continue with the chapter 3 of political science, electoral politics. Okay, we have already discussed that why do we need election. Okay, and also we discussed what makes an election democratic. So what makes an election democratic? There are 5 points there are 5 features which makes an election democratic. Now, first is, if you need, you can answer in the chat. If you want to ask any question or give any answer, you can do that with the help of the chat. Okay. Now, what makes an election democratic? So there are 5 features which make an election democratic. Okay. So in that, everyone should be able to choose. That means everyone should have right to vote when they are eligible. Okay. When they are eligible, they should have right to vote. Also, their vote should be considered equal. Everyone should have one vote and that should be considered equal. That should have equal value. So this is the first feature. Second is, there should be something to choose from. That means options should be available there. That means there should be number of political parties from which the citizens, the peoples can choose. Suppose we saw in the example of Chinese Communist Party, right? Communist Party. So in that, what was there? That was the single political party people were having. They were not having any option, any choice. Okay? So that should not be the case in the democratic election. See, the word democracy itself means equality. Right? So everyone should be equal and everyone should get the equal value and equal rights. Okay. So here if you see, there should be the political parties from which people can choose. At least they should have option. Third feature is, the election should be there on the regular intervals. Now with regular election, what happens? The people, the power of government get restricted with the regular election. If regular elections will not be there, then only one party will be there, right? And they will have the supreme power because they will not have any fear that the power will be taken from them, right? So they will have the supreme power and they will enjoy, and the citizens will suffer with that. There will be no value of people. And in democracy, that is not the scenario. In democracy, people are supreme. They should have the power to appoint the government, to elect the government, right? And also this regular elections put pressure on the government. If government will not work properly, they will be thrown out of the government, right? If the political party is not working properly, they will be elected. So like this, they will have pressure. They have to work. Otherwise, they know they are not going to be in government next time. Okay. So like this, they have the pressure to work. Next, the fourth is the candidate preferred by people should get elected. Whatever candidate the people has preferred, they should get elected. Understood? Whoever candidate stood for the election and people vote for that person, that candidate should get elected. Okay. Next is there should be free and fair election. Free and fair election means free and fair from dirty politics. Okay. Free and fair from dirty politics. There should not be any booth capturing and all. The current party, the current government should not use their power in the election. Right? Election should be, that should remain untouched from the government. Okay? Government's power. So that is now called the free and fair election. So these are the 5 features which makes an election democratic. Now, non-democratic election means, what is the meaning of non-democratic election? Yesterday I asked question, how will you differentiate between a democratic election and non-democratic election? Yesterday I asked question. So, the government which fulfills all these 5 features, that is democratic government. Okay? The government which fulfills all these 5 features, that is democratic government. That means they are giving their people to like the opportunity to vote. Their vote is considered equal. They are giving some of the options to the people, right? That means there should not be a single option. That is not the choice. If you have one single political party, that is not a choice. Okay. Next is regular elections. Because of the regular elections, the government will work, they will have a pressure and they will work. Next is the candidate which is preferred by people should get elected. Okay. Also, there should be free and fair election. That means the current government should not use their powers to manipulate the election. Okay. So these terms should be fulfilled by a democratic election. Then only an election becomes democratic. Otherwise, many of the countries, in real scenario, if you say, many of the countries are unable to fulfill these features. So, if you see, many of the countries, they show that they are having election, they are a democratic country, but if you go through their election process, you will find that they are unable to fulfill the features of democratic election, and thus they are not actually the democratic government. Okay. Now next topic we have is, now Aman is requesting to unmute, but sorry I cannot unmute you here. You need to go through the topics here. Whatever questions you have, you can ask in the chat. I can go through your questions. You can ask that in the chat and I can consider your questions here. So if you have any question related to this, you can ask. Okay, so now the next topic which we have. We talked something about the competition. Competition in the election, in the political parties. Okay, so the topic is it good to have political competition? This is the question which we have. This is the topic. So, is it good to have the political competition? Should we have that? Do you feel the necessity of the political competition? Anyone? Okay, let me tell. If you know the answer, please reply. Actually, there are both merits and demerits of political competition. Can anyone tell me the merits of the political competition? So if we talk about merits of the political competition, if there is competition, suppose there are 5 to 6 parties, okay? There are 5 to 6 parties, okay? Aman has given answer, okay, so that they can become a barrier or a breaker to not misuse the power. A very good answer is this. This answer is good. If there will be political competition, so the political party which is in government, they have to work. They have to work so that they can get the position next time. Right? So always they will think that if this party, suppose this is the current government, this is the current party which is in the government, and suppose if this party is not working properly, what these others will do? The others will criticize, right? The other political parties will criticize the government, right? Whatever fault the government will have, they all will point that. The people will know that government is doing this mistake, right? So like this, the current government will always have fear that if they will not work properly or if they are doing something wrong, that will come into the point. The other political parties who are in opposition, they will point out, they will criticize. Okay, and like this, if you see, the election put pressure on the government so that they have to work as per the citizen. Understood? And suppose if this election is wiped out, there is no election, what will happen? The current government will do whatever they want to do. Now here, if you see, the people's involvement will be wiped out. There will be no people's involvement in the government. So to make the people's participation in the government, there should be regular election. Okay. So people's participation, to keep people's participation in the government, we need regular election. Also political competition should be there, right? Because the current government will think, if I am not working, the opposition party, they will criticize, right? If I am doing something wrong, the opposition will criticize. They will bring those points in the public, and like this, maybe I will not get the chance next time. So here also you can see the political competition keeps the government in pressure to work. Okay. Now, if you talk about demerits, this journey. The people, if they are having the aim or goal as they want to work for the citizen, then that is very good. Okay. If suppose there is a political party and they have their aim as they want to serve people, then obviously they will work for the betterment of the people. Then there is no issue. But it is not in the real scenario. Many of the political parties are there who actually are working to make their own career, to build their own career. Now, when there is difference in the motive, the people works differently. Now, the person who actually wants to work for the people, he will work properly, right? In any situation, he will work good. But the person who only want to work for betterment of his career, his personal development, now he will do anything. His motive is not to serve people. His motive is to build his personal career. Now in this, he will do anything. And what happens after that? The dirty politics are played. The very dirty politics are played to fulfill their personal motives. Okay. So if you see in the first scenario where the political party actually wants to serve people, there we don't have any problem. That is the ideal situation. But in the second one, if you see, the person who actually wants to develop his own career, or the political party who wants to grow, they are only thinking about themselves. In that situation, what happens? They will go to any level, right? They will play any dirty politics. In this situation, many of the good people who actually wants to work for the people, they don't want to get into this dirty politics. So in this situation, what happens? Many of the good people who are actually capable and who actually have motive to work, they leave this. They don't want to go in this dirty politics. So by this political competition, we actually sometimes lose our very good political leaders, because they want to remain outside of this dirty politics. Okay. So if you see, if this question arises, is it good to have political competition? So political competitions are good also and bad also. They have merits also, demerits also. With the political competition, the parties are having motive to work, a pressure to work. But sometimes it goes into the dirty politics and we lose some of the good leaders who actually can work for the people. Now I have answer from Aman. Demerits are political parties and leaders often use dirty tricks to win. Very good. This is the point we just discussed. And next is political parties and leaders pressurized election official. That also happens. Voters, police, etc. to win an election does not lead to the formulation of long-term politics. Yes, this is correct. The 2 points given by Aman is correct. One more demerit we will talk about. So one more demerit is, what happens? Competition is good. Competition keeps the people in the working situation, right? It motivates also, it pressurizes also, and people keeps working for the good. But sometimes if you see, the actual scenarios where we need the unity, where we need unity. Suppose there is a situation where there is no requirement of political parties, where as an Indian we need to be united. There sometimes what happens, because of the political competition, the unity is missing. Some of the political parties, for their benefit, what they do? They actually goes in the against the government, where actually they should be united. Sometimes we see such kind of scenario. Okay, that actually the oppositions also should be in the support of government, but sometimes what happens, because of their own benefit, they are against the government. Okay. Yes, Aman has written, it also hampers unity and factionalism is created. Yes, that is what we are talking about, that sometimes where we should all united in spite of the political parties, we should be Indians. There what happens, because of this political competition, sometimes the political parties goes against the government and you will find that unity is missing. Okay. So this is also a demerit of political competition. So when we talk about political competition, we have merits also and demerits also. Okay. You have two pictures in your book. If you go page number 38, and you need to describe that. You have an activity over there, so you need to do that activity. Okay. Now, what is our system of election? So we'll go a little bit into this topic today, and we'll explain it tomorrow in detail, but today we'll start at least. I hope you all understood this political competition. Okay. And if there is any question, please ask in the chat. I can see only Aman is replying and Aman is active here. Rest of the students also need to ask questions and reply. If you have any questions, we can clear it. So next is, what is our system of elections? So here we will discuss a little bit. See, elections are held on the regular intervals, we all know. We have 5 years plan. Okay, on 5 years we have elections in Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. So, assembly actually. Okay, so we have elections on 5 years, Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. Okay. After 5 years, what happens? This is considered as dissolved and will go for re-election. Right? On every 5 years we get election, we have elections. So, see if this anyone won, they will continue for 5 years, and after 5 years, this will be dissolved and there will be re-election. But sometimes what happens, because someone has resigned, okay, some party has resigned, or because of the sudden death or anything like that, because of the death or resignation, what happens? The elections are held. Okay? They will not wait for the 5 years. Okay, for the election. So elections are also held in between the 5 years. If there is death or resignation of a part. So in this case, this is called by-election. This is called by-election. Okay? The election which is held before completion of 5 years, in case of any resignation or death, that is called by-election. And the election which happens on 5 years, that is general election. Okay? So, and the election which happens on 5 years, that is general election. So here you need to keep in mind the difference between by-election and general election. By-election is when election takes place before completion of the 5-year term, and that is because that happens because of the death or resignation. Okay? And general election is the general election which takes place on every 5 years. So this is difference between by-election and general election. So our chapter is on general election. Okay? So this chapter is on general elections. So we will be discussing about the general elections. So you need to keep this in mind that we have the election on 5 years. That is very simple. You all know. At Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha is considered the assembly. And after 5 years, they are considered as dissolved. And after that, we'll have the re-election. Okay? Also, you would have heard and read about constituencies. Right? We have constituencies. So, our country is divided into constituencies. Okay, constituencies actually are the you say there are some places and almost equal population. It is divided. Okay, now they will vote for the members. Now see, suppose if I say this is class 9, okay. Now there is, we are taking the whole school. There are different classes. Suppose there is class 1 to 9. Okay. There is class 1 to 9. Now there will be election for monitor. We have election for monitor. Now what happens? Everyone is having, okay, so there is all the classes, the students are divided as per their classes. The same way our state is divided into different constituencies. As you have class 1, 2, 3, 4 like this till 9 you have. The same way our country is having different constituencies. Okay. Now in that, suppose in class 1, some of the students will be there who will stand for the stand as candidate. So from 1 to 9, different candidates will be there who will stand. Right? The same way from the constituencies, the people will stand as the candidate. Okay. Now they all are there. Now if you see, there is election going on in class these three candidates. Only class 1 students can vote for these three candidates. The same way in class 2 also will have 3 or 4 members. So only class 2 will vote for that one. Like this, the same way, there is constituency. Now, the people belong to whatever constituency they are in, they will vote for that specific candidate. Okay? If I belong to West Bengal, I cannot come in Bihar and vote for the candidate. I cannot do that. I have to vote for my constituency. Understood? So like this, we have elections in all the constituencies or about the same time. All the elections in all the constituencies takes place almost in same times. The date can be here and there, okay, before and after, but it is held in almost at the same time. Now, if you see, you understood that a people can only vote in his own constituency. A person can only vote in his own constituency from the place you belong to. You cannot go to some other place in others constituency and you cannot vote. Like class 9 cannot go and vote in class 1's election for monitor. So the same way, the people belongs to whatever constituency, they will vote in their own constituency. They cannot go to other place and vote. Okay? Now there are the Lok Sabha elections are divided into, for Lok Sabha elections, our country is divided into 543 constituencies. Okay? So we have this 543 constituencies, and from these the representatives take part in the election. Okay? So the representative who take parts in elections are called, and when they vote, they are called MP and MLAs. Okay? The representatives, when they vote, they are called MP and MLA. Now MP is Member of Parliament. Member of Parliament. Okay? MLA is Member of Legislative Assembly. Member of Legislative Assembly. Okay? So if you see, what is the difference in MP and MLA? Both are the winning members, winning representatives. So can anyone tell me what is difference in MP and MLA? Is there any answer with you? Okay, one is Member of Parliament. Aman is answering. One is Member of Parliament and the second is Member of Legislative Assembly. But still, is the difference clear? See, we have elections, okay? See, Aman has answered correctly. MP is at central level and MLA is for state level. If you see, we have election on the central level also, on the state level also. We will understand this in our chapter when we will go ahead. Okay? So we will talk about this. But here you understand that MP is on the national level or central level and MLA is for state level. This is the difference. They both are the winning representatives, but the election which is held on the state level, the representative who won are called MLA, Member of Legislative Assembly. That means the election which is held on the assembly level. Okay? And MP is Member of Parliament and they are on the national level. The election which is held on the national level and the members who won in that. Okay. So here today we discussed about the features which is necessary for the democratic election. The features which is necessary for the democratic election. Also, what is the benefit, what is the merit or demerit of the political competition? How it can be good for us and how it can harm. Next, we also discussed the basics of the system of election in that constituency and MP and MLA. So these topics has been cleared. So whatever questions you have related to this topic, we will discuss it tomorrow. Okay? And if you have any questions, you can ask here in the chat. So no one is having no questions. And Aman has cooperated very well.